Hey guys, YouTuber and editor. Alright, and now here I am with another DC Extended Universe review. And now next up, this is going to be a review for Aquaman. Yeah. So, like I said in my last review when I reviewed Justice League, after how disappointed I was with the Justice League movie, it really almost completely turned me away from DC films. Yeah, after how disappointed I was in Justice League, I was really the saying how I really just was not interested in DC films anymore, and I really was not going to see anymore. So yeah, so I almost actually did not see this film after when it was released in the theaters. Yeah, and yeah, plus yeah, after Justice League, that was really when a DC really was a it was really unknown what the future was really going to be for the DC extended universe because after that movie, several of the actors of the movies were saying how they were not really interested in continuing. I remember Ben Affleck was saying how he was not interested in continuing on as Batman. Henry Cavill was saying how he was not really interested in coming back as Superman. And there were some other actors from the movies who were saying how they really didn't want to continue on. So yeah, so at this point, the DC films, it was really unknown what their future really was going to be. Yeah. Plus, yeah, after this, well, yeah, after Justice League, that was when a DC was starting to make the other movies that really were not in connection with the universe. Like when they made films the Joker movie, and also that new Batman film that was released last year, The Batman. So yeah, and I think we've got some other unrelated DC movies that are coming up. Yeah. So at this point a DC really was it was really unknown what DC was really going to do for their movies. Yeah. And yeah, and like I said, I almost actually didn't actually see this movie when it was released in the theaters. Yeah, but yeah, after I saw the good reviews this movie was getting, this movie was released in December of 2018. Yeah, and I don't think I actually did see it until January or February of 2019. So yeah, so it took me a little while to actually finally decide to go see this movie in the theater. Yeah, but I figured with the good reviews that it seemed to be getting, I decided that okay, I'll go see this. I'll see if maybe this could actually be pretty good. Yeah. So yeah. So I did see this movie when it was released in the theater, and yeah, and I was saying in my Wonder Woman review, I was kind of nervous how this really was going to turn out because. Yeah, like I said, with Aquaman being introduced in Justice League, and this not really being his origin, and when we actually do, well, I shouldn't say origin, but this not being his introduction into the universe, I was really kind of nervous how this was going to turn out. Since he had already been introduced, what were they really going to do with him? But yeah, DC actually did manage to give us a pretty good film here. Yeah. So yeah. So yeah, after Justice League, after a Zack Snyder had left from the universe, after he left from working on the universe, this actually did seem to be when DC was actually starting to improve with their films because yeah, with their first five movies, all the movies up to Justice League, they had five movies up to that point, and four of them really did not turn out being very good at all. Well, Whit Zack Snyder was involved in the movies, yeah. Then after he left, yeah, I did see how DC was actually really starting to improve with their films. So is this actually a sign how Zack Snyder really was turning out Zack Snyder really was responsible for the movies not really turning out very good? Because yeah, after he left, they actually did seem to get better. And this movie really is a example of that. Yeah, like I said, they really did actually give us a pretty good movie here. Yeah. So yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, like I was saying in Justice League, Jason Momoa actually did was like a pretty cool as Aquaman in Justice League, yeah, and we get more of it in this film, and yeah, and once again, he really is like a pretty cool iteration of Aquaman. Like he really does do pretty good in this film, yeah, and this story is actually like a pretty good. He does give us a pretty good story, kind of like a showing how like Aquaman does actually become the king of like the underwater world, basically. Yeah, that is really like what this film really is about. Like, yeah, in Justice League, like it's not actually like really established how he is actually the king of the underwater world. Yeah, but yeah, in this film is when he actually does become it. So yeah, so it's not really like the Wonder Woman movie where it is like a prequel explaining like his origin. Though yeah, his origin is like talked about at the beginning of the film, but yeah, after like it talks about that at the beginning, then it just cuts like the present day after the events of Justice League. So yeah, so it really is not like an entire like origin story for Aquaman. They just like talk about his origin in the beginning and just like cut to the story that actually does take place like after Justice League. So yeah, so I do like that they really did decide to do that, and yeah, and like I said, they really did give us a pretty awesome film here. Like a lot of the imagery in the film is like a pretty cool to see. Like just seeing like all this stuff, like the underwater world. Like they really did like design like all these underwater kingdoms that are in the movie. They really did design them pretty good, and they really are nice to look at. Yeah, yeah, and plus, yeah, some of the like the designs of like a lot of the beings that are underwater, they are like a pretty nice designs here. So yeah, so they really did get like a nice job. Uh, really did get like a nice group of people to actually like design like the creatures for this film. Yeah, and they do look pretty nice. Yeah, it is like kind of similar to like in Thor, like the Thor movies, how like they really do a nice job of designing like the characters like from like all the other different um worlds for like the gods and stuff, yeah, and here they kind of like do the same thing. Like yeah, it is nice to really like see like all these different like creatures and beings that are in the film. So yeah, so nice design for the characters in this film, yeah. And yeah, and it does really like tell like a nice story. Like it is like kind of like similar to the stories in the Thor movies where like like Aquaman like has to deal with like his half brother. His half brother, or in the film, is like the antagonist for the film, and really he's just like trying to take over like the throne from like when their mother is like gone, he and he like blames Aquaman for the death of their mother. So yeah, so yeah, he really is like trying to like go after them, and well, yeah, he's like trying to go after them, and then yeah, then like there's like another character that Aquaman is responsible for like destroying his father, so he wants revenge on Aquaman in the film as well. So yeah, so this does really have some pretty good stories, and yeah, and there's like another um uh uh character that is in the film that actually like enlists the help of Aquaman, who's like the daughter of like another one of the kings of another kingdom underwater, and then she enlists the help of Aquaman as well, because there will be like a war started if Aquaman doesn't like actually take his throne and stuff. So yeah, so yeah, so there's like the story of that with like Aquaman and the daughter like trying to locate the Triton so Aquaman can actually take the throne of the king, and like stopping the like his half brother and the son of the king that he killed. So yeah, and like I said, it actually does tell like a pretty good story, and yeah, and it is like a pretty nice movie. Like like the story is really interesting. Like the underwater worlds are nice to look at. There are some nice performances, and yeah, and Jason Momoa is once again like does do pretty cool at playing Aquaman, and especially like when we actually do like get to like see him in the classic Aquaman outfit, it just looks really cool. So yeah, so well, yeah, so I really do find it hard to really say that this film really isn't good because, yeah, there is like a lot of nice things about it. And yeah, yeah, and yeah, and the film like it does also have like a pretty nice cast as well. Like I said, Jason Momoa returns as Aquaman, and you also have like cast members like Amber Heard, Willem Dafoe, Patrick Wilson, Dolph Lundgren, Tamara Morrison, Nicole Kidman. Yeah, and they're all like pretty good in the film. So yeah, So a nice cast as well. So yeah, so really just I can't really find too much to really complain about the film. Like it's not like a grand masterpiece or anything, but yeah, for a film that really like probably like didn't really have like a lot of expectations coming off the heels of Justice League, it really did like give us like a pretty nice film that is pretty enjoyable to watch. So yeah, so what else can I really say about it? So yeah, so overall, did like the film. So I guess I would give it probably 3 stars out of 4. Yeah, and like I said, following this, like this is really like where DC films really start to improve, and the next few films really did turn out pretty good as well. Yeah, but yeah, I'll talk about those later. Yeah, when I actually do get to them. Yeah, this is about Aquaman. All right, so yeah, so I guess I'll just start talking about the premise of the movie. All right. So yeah, so the film opens up in the year 1985, and it shows how there's this lighthouse keeper Tom Curry, and he ends up finding the queen of the underwater kingdom of Atlantis, Atlanta, Atlanta rather. And yeah, and he ends up recovering her from a storm. Then as he helps her recover, they then end up falling in love. Yeah, then they eventually give birth to a boy that they name Arthur. And yeah, then it's shown how Arthur does have the power to communicate with creatures from the sea. Yeah, but yeah, then as a when Arthur is about 2 or 3 years old, then there's some other Atlantean soldiers that were sent by the ruler of Atlantis, King Orvax, to retrieve Atlanta and bring her back to Atlantis. And yeah, and it's explained how Atlanta actually ended up fleeing her marriage in Atlantis, and then yeah, then she was able to fight all the soldiers off, but then she decides that she really has to leave leave Tom and Arthur to protect them from her other people. And then yeah, then she made the promise to return when it becomes safe for her to do it. Yeah, then she goes back to Atlanta. This yeah, and yeah, and in this film, Atlanta is played by Nicole Kidman. Yeah, so this is actually Nicole Kidman's second time being in a DC property movie. Yeah, the first one was of course Batman Forever. So Nicole Kidman's second time being in a DC related film. Yeah, so it is interesting to see her there. Yeah, and it was also interesting to kind of see Tamara Morrison in the film as well, because I'm sure a lot of people from this generation will know him as Jango Fett and Boba Fett. So yeah, kind of it is interesting to see him in a comic book film. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, then when Atlanta returned to Atlanta, she then just entrusted her advisor Nuidus Volko to train Arthur, and then yeah, then shown over time Arthur is a very skilled warrior, but then when he gets older, or when it comes time for him to become the ruler of Atlantis, he ends up rejecting it after he learned that Orvax executed Atlanta for loving a human and having Arthur as a half breed son. Yeah, yeah. Then there's this scene where Arthur is Really young, probably around the age of 8 or somewhere between 8 and 10 years old, and as he's on a trip at an aquarium, other kids are starting to heckle him because he says that he can communicate with sea creatures. Then when the kids were starting to really bully him, it showed this shark was pounding into the glass from the exhibit. Yeah, and made the kids back off, and it showed how all the other creatures in the exhibit were gathering up with Arthur as well. So yeah, so kind of an example of his power to communicate with sea creatures. Yeah. Then it cuts to the present day, and yeah, it's set about a year after the events of Justice League. Yeah, yeah, and Arthur has now been dubbed as Aquaman by the public. Yeah, So yeah, so I said in my review for Justice League how the characters really are not actually referred to by like their superhero names. Like they weren't referred to as like a Flash or Cyborg or Aquaman in Justice League. Yeah, but here like in this film, um, he is actually now labeled as Aquaman. Yeah, yeah. Then it Arthur ended up stopping a group of pirates from hijacking a Russian Akula class submarine. Yeah, then as their leader here was trying to uh, kill Arthur to stop him. Uh, yeah, Arthur eventually ended up like overpowering him and killing him. Yeah, then the leader's son David, seeing Arthur killing his father, he then vowed revenge on Arthur. Yeah, then it showed how uh, the new ruler of Atlantis, King Orm Marius, who's actually the son of Orvax. X, Hex, and it's also revealed how he's the younger half brother of Arthur. Yeah, he then convinced the um the king of the kingdom of Zebel named Nereus, I think that's how it's said, to unite with Atlantis and destroy the surface world for polluting oceans. Yeah, yeah, and it's talked about how if all four kingdoms are actually united, then Orm will actually be declared the Ocean Master, who's the commander of the most powerful force on the planet. Yeah, and then after Nereus and his people were attacked by the hijacked submarine, then he agreed to help. So yeah, so throughout the film, Orm is enlisting the help of being from other kingdoms, and then forcing them to help by attacking them. Yeah, so yeah, so a lot of the people that are helping Orm in this film are very reluctant but are forced into doing it. Yeah, yeah, then finding out about this um uh uh Nereus's daughter Mira was refusing to actually aid Orm and his people. Then she went to Arthur, who is still up in the surface with his father. Yeah, she tried to enlist Arthur's help into stopping Orm from doing what he's doing. But yeah, initially Arthur just turned it down. Yeah, but then after Orm ended up sending a tsunami after Arthur, and the tsunami ended up hitting Arthur and Tom, and Tom was nearly killed in the tsunami, but Arthur and Mira were able to revive him. Yeah, then that's when Arthur then decided that he would actually help Mira in stopping Orm. Yeah, yeah. Then when they went back down to the underwater world, Volko, who is played by Willem Dafoe. Yeah, so yeah, kind of like J.K. Simmons, like when he was in Justice League. Yeah, we got another actor from the original Spider-Man movies in the film once again. Yeah, Willem Dafoe. It's interesting to see him, but yeah, to be honest, it is just kind of like you are just seeing the Green Goblin in a DC film. I think that is really going to be how Willem Dafoe really is remembered. Just yeah, his role as the Green Goblin is really just going to stick with everybody, and they're just really going to be remembering him as the Green Goblin and not really think of him in any of his other roles that he's in. Yeah, yeah. But anyway, yeah. Then Volko then after having a talk with Arthur, he then urged him to find the artifact of Atlantis' first ruler, which is known as the Trident of Atlan, so he can actually reclaim his spot as king. Yeah, yeah. But then Arthur ended up being captured by Orm's men after an ambush. Then as Orm was um uh, talking with Arthur, Orm was saying how he blamed Arthur for Atlanta's death, and then Arthur then challenged Orm to a duel, and if Arthur would win, he would actually become king or something like that. Yeah. Then as they had their duel, it looked like as a Orm was like overpowering Arthur, and it looked like he was about to destroy him. Mira ended up like intercepting it and was able to like retrieve Arthur before Orm t- could finish the job. Yeah. So then, yeah. Then eventually, Arthur and Mira then went to like the Sahara Desert to find the fallen kingdom of the deserters that was hidden under the desert. Yeah, and then they eventually ended up finding a holographic message which contained the location of uh, where they could possibly retrieve the trident, which was in Sicily, Italy. Then they were able to like retrieve the coordinates of the trident. Yeah, then yeah, then then later on, like Orm then met up with David. Then learning how like David wanted revenge on Arthur for his father's death, Orm then presented David with a prototype Atlantean battle suit so he could kill Arthur. Then Orm then enlisted the help of the kingdom of the fishermen. Then after like he killed their king, it ended up like forcing the queen and princess to accept and join up with him. And it was also revealed how Orm actually did hire David and his father to hijack the Russian submarine. And yeah, this was actually the same submarine that actually ended up attacking Atlantis earlier on in the movie to win Nereus' support. Then eventually, as Arthur and Mira then were like trying to locate the Trident. Then David ended up ambushing them and wearing the new battle suit. He was like uh, calling himself Black Manta. Then he wound up attacking Arthur and ended up wounding him. But yeah, Arthur was eventually able to overpower David and defeat him. Then once they arrived at the location of where the coordinates pointed the trident to, who they then like came to like this kingdom that was known as the Trench. Then they eventually ended up being transported to a uncharted sea located in the center of the earth, where Arthur then like reunited with his mother. And Atlanta then was just like explaining to Arthur how she was not actually destroyed. She just was a sacrifice to the Trench for Arthur's illegitimate birth, but she actually did survive and escape to the Uncharted Sea, where she is still alive and well. Yeah, then as Arthur then came face to face with this mythical Leviathan, I think that's how it's said, uh, Carathan, who was actually the keeper of the Trident. Uh, he was like just explaining like how he was very determined to protect both worlds, both Atlantis and the surface. And then he then eventually then reclaimed the Trident, which gave him like control over the seven seas, where we do finally see him in the classic Aquaman suit, which does look pretty cool. Like it's really like was like very armored up. So seeing like him actually wearing like the classic Aquaman suit was pretty cool. Yeah. Then when we do finally get the battle between Orm and his army against the Brine Kingdom to declare himself Ocean Master, Arthur, Mira, Carathan, and the Trench also led their own army of marine creatures to fight up against Orm and his army. Then over time, like it showed how like Orm's followers were starting to like embrace Arthur as the king, learning that he does have the Trident. Then as got the final duel between Arthur and Orm. Like when Arthur finally like defeated Orm, like Like he didn't actually kill Orm. He then spared him. Then yeah, then when Orm then discovered that um their mother was still alive, Orm then decided to accept his imprisonment, and then yeah, then it showed Elena then reuniting with Thomas as they promised, with Arthur like ascending and taking his throne as the king of Atlantis. Then it just like showed him down in Atlantis with final narration. Then he eventually then, as he was just like just zooming all through Atlantis, he then emerged up from the surface, and over the narration, he said that he was Aquaman, and then that's how the movie ended. Yeah, but then then like during the credits, then like there was of course a mid credits scene, of course, like. As I said in my last review, like Justice League was really like when they were starting to really like rip off what Marvel was does in their films, and yeah, and they continued it here with another mid credit scene. It showed how David ended up being recovered from the sea by a marine scientist is named Dr. Stephen Shin, who was also like a conspiracy theorist that really was obsessed with Atlantis and finding it. Then uh, David then like eventually woke up, and then learning how Dr. Shin, who like wanted to find Atlantis, he then like agreed to lead Shin to Atlantis is in exchange for help in actually getting his revenge on Arthur. So this is probably something that will actually like carry over to the next Aquaman movie, whenever that may be. Like I'm not exactly sure like when there will be the another Aquaman movie coming out. Like I don't know if like there's actually been a release date announced for that yet. I think that movie is still just like in development right now. Yeah. So it's not really like known exactly when the next Aquaman movie will come out, but yeah, this scene will probably like carry over to the next Aquaman film, whenever that may come out. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, this really is like a pretty good movie. You like yeah, Jason Momoa is like a very cool as Aquaman, and it is cool to see him in that classic Aquaman suit towards the end of the film. Yeah, and plus, yeah, like I said, it just has some really nice visuals, has a pretty good story, some pretty good performances from the cast. So yeah, so I really can't find too much to really complain about this film. Like I said, it's no grand masterpiece, and it's not at the level of greatness that Wonder Woman was. But yeah, for a film that really like was coming off the heels of a pretty big disappointment with Justice League, yeah, they really did give us a pretty good and enjoyable movie. So yeah, so like I said, really find it hard to really call it a bad movie. So yeah. So overall, yeah, a pretty good movie, and I do think that it is like definitely worth watching. Yeah. So yeah. So I just really don't know what else I can really say about the film, but yeah, pretty good movie. So yeah. So like I said, I give the film 3 stars out of 4. So yeah. So like I said, yeah, this was really like when DC was really starting to improve with their films, and it would continue on with the next few films. Yeah. But yeah, I'll talk about those as I continue to go over the films in this DC extended universe. So yeah. So you'll hear my thoughts on those films when I get to them. All right, but so I guess this is all I can really say about the film. All right, so yeah, so this is my review of Aquaman. So I hope you guys did enjoy this review. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.